press briefing by the Minister of Government Communications and then also the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Samuel Nati George. And they'll be talking about some key initiatives and development within the sector, especially for the second quarter. And I'm sure prominent among them will be about the promised data subscription services and packages as promised by the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Sam Nati George, that would be coming from the service providers under the sector, particularly when it comes to all of them, as we have. And already, Sam George has started a briefing. We'll take you over.
And reflect a consensus-based approach to digital affordability. This reform marks a major milestone in our commitment to make digital access affordable and equitable for all Ghanaians. Let me be clear, I made a promise to reduce the cost of data, and we have effectively achieved that starting on the 1st, 2 days ago. Let me once again salute the NCA and the management of the NCA for the work that they did with the ministry in ensuring that even challenges that we experienced on day one were quickly dealt with, and by yesterday, everybody on all three networks were able to buy the data. So once again, to the NCA leadership, thank you very much. Under the new structure, mobile users now receive significantly more data for the same price as follows. On MTN, all mobile bundles, irrespective of price, have increased by 15%. Telecel and Airtel, all mobile bundles, irrespective of price, have increased by 10%. And then for the high-use bundles, especially used by those in the gig economy, those who do remote work, and those who are content creators, we have restored MTN's 399 Ghana CD bundle, which used to offer 92 gig to 214 gigabyte now. Telecel's 400 CD gig bundle now offers 250 gigabytes instead of 190 gigabyte, and Airtel Tigo is also offering 250 gigabytes in place of the 195 gigabyte previously offered. These reductions were the results of a broader reform package we introduced in Q1, which included a spectrum review that freed up additional bandwidth to reduce congestion and tower operator cost, new licensing conditions that tied spectrum awards to consumer pricing commitments, and thirdly, direct regulatory engagement with telcos, which led to consensus on fair pricing aligned with global affordability benchmarks. Let me be clear, the ministry is engaged with the International Telecoms Union on further studies on the cost of data vis-a-vis the earning power of Ghanaians. And when that study is completed, we'll share the findings with the MNOs, and if it warrants further price reductions, we will achieve and demand same for the Ghanaian people. Furthermore, all three major mobile network operators have agreed to invest a combined $150 million into their networks by the end of 2025 to improve service quality, reliability, and resilience. Enforcement of service quality benchmarks have been mandated to the NCA, with ongoing monitoring started already by the regulator. Our goal is to ensure that data is not a luxury, but a utility. It is accessible and affordable to every Ghanaian. As we accelerate our digital transformation agenda, no one should be left behind because of cost. We call on the private sector, civil society, and the public to support this shift. And please, feel free to hold me accountable for delivery. 3, legislative review and update. A central priority of my tenure is to modernize Ghana's ICT legal framework in line with international standards. And to that end, the ministry initiated a comprehensive internal review of all existing ICT laws, policies, and guidelines in Q1 2025. The review is now complete, and we have initiated a process of drafting 15 new technology laws, including the Data Protection Amendment Bill, the Cybersecurity regulations, the Ghana Startup Act, the Digital ID Regulation, and new frameworks on AI, cloud services, digital trade, and platform governance. The ministry will work closely with Parliament in completing the processes for these legislative reforms, which will, 1, modernize Ghana's ICT legal architecture to reflect today's digital realities, 2, secure Ghana's digital ecosystem while upholding inclusion and fundamental rights. And 3, foster a trusted regulatory environment that attracts investments and drives innovation. 4, the Ghana Startups Bill submission. The ministry continues to make strong progress on the Ghana Innovation and Startup Bill. The draft bill submitted in March 2025 has since undergone extensive stakeholder validation through committee-level, zonal, and national consultations, confirming broad consensus on its key provisions. The bill is currently in the legal drafting phase and under final review by a law firm working closely with ecosystem stakeholders. It's currently undergoing due process, which will include the submission to Cabinet and Parliament with the aim of securing passage by December 2025. Once passed, this law will provide legal clarity and registration for startups. It will provide tax incentives and targeted reliefs for startups and a streamlined compliance framework for innovation-led firms. Ghana's advancement on this legislation sends a clear signal to local and international investors. We're building a competitive, investor-ready digital economy driven by local entrepreneurship and innovation. In line with our vision, the ministry is proud to announce that Ghana has been chosen to host the 2025 Global Entrepreneurship Festival. This event, which attracts over 10,000 people in person from over 70 countries with over 100 exhibitors, will happen over a 3-day period in November. It brings into the country venture capitalists, angel investors, and captains of industry to partner the brightest innovators and startups in our country. 5, the National Anti-Misinformation Bill. To protect the integrity of Ghana's digital information ecosystem, the ministry is making steady progress on advancing the National Misinformation and Disinformation Bill. This draft legislation is designed to strengthen legal safeguards against the deliberate creation and spread of false or harmful digital content. It will provide a clear legal framework for enforcement, enabling statutory bodies to act decisively while upholding freedoms of expression. The bill is set to be presented to Parliament for review in its upcoming session and reflects the ministry's commitments to ensuring accountability, fostering trustworthy public discourse, and promoting digital literacy without compromising democratic values. And let me be clear, we will not clamp down on the freedom of expression. That will be respected. However, where your rights to free expression end, your duty not to misinform begins. 6, a national AI strategy consultation. On April 15th and again on the 23rd to 24th of April, the ministry convened inclusive stakeholder forums in partnership with key strategic allies, including the KNUST's Responsible AI Lab, the British High Commission, and GIZ's Fair Forward. These high-level consultations brought together government agencies, academia, industry leaders, civil society organizations, and development partners to co-create Ghana's national AI strategy. The draft strategy, which aligns with the AU standards and global best practices, has completed legal review and is slated for cabinet presentation with a formal launch in Q3 2025. These steps reinforce our commitment to building an ethical, inclusive, secure, and innovation-driven AI ecosystem that positions Ghana as the premier AI hub of Africa by 2028. The ministry is also working on a new emerging technologies legislation to steer a clear path and indicate our desire as a nation to be a major contributor on the continent in emerging technologies such as AI, IoT, blockchain, and machine learning. And on this, you remember that in Q2, we signed a $1 billion deal with the government of UAE to bring in Africa's biggest AI and innovation hub into the country. Work is steadily progressing on that project. 7, the development of the National Digital Transformation and Emerging Tech Strategy. On May 2nd, 2025, I formally unveiled the development of Ghana's National Digital Transformation and Emerging Technology Strategy with a strong emphasis on artificial intelligence. This initiative, crafted in partnership with UNESCO and the British High Commission, establishes a clear roadmap for ethical, inclusive, and sovereignty-conscious integration of AI and emerging technologies into our economic and social frameworks. The key strategic pillars include ethical integration of AI, digital sovereignty, strategic partnerships, and embedding human capital. This strategy remains on schedule for release in Q3 2025. 8. The NGIC 5G rollout deadline. The next generation infrastructure company, NGIC, our exclusive shared neutral 4G, 5G infrastructure provider, is progressing steadily towards its target of activating over 350 5G ready cell sites. At my last briefing, I indicated that we had set a deadline of June 2025. Unfortunately, the company has been unable to meet that deadline. We have set a final deadline of Q4 2025, where at least 50 live 5G sites are expected in Accra and Kumasi. As of today, 3rd July, NGIC has deployed 16 5G ready sites and received full NCA approval for its core network infrastructure. These milestones reflect meaningful progress following earlier delays in 2024. But let me be clear, we have agreed with NGIC that there will be no further extensions to this rollout deadline. If the company fails to meet the Q4 deadline commitment, the ministry will immediately initiate a review and possible renegotiation of the license term. The NCA is fully mandated to enforce this directive. The national rollout model is a deliberate policy shift to reduce infrastructure duplication, lower data cost, and accelerate universal 5G access for all Ghanaians. We're working closely with NGIC to ensure transparency, efficiency, and customer value at every stage. 9. Ghana.gov. The Ghana.gov platform is undergoing comprehensive re-engineering led by the Ministry and the National Information Technology Agency, Nita, to modernize citizen interaction with government. The redesigned site, which would launch in Q4 after a public tender, will feature significantly faster access, full Ghana card integration, and an intuitive, streamlined interface tailored for both individuals and businesses. This upgraded portal will enhance transparency, convenience, and reliability in accessing government services. We intend to put 16,000 government services on that platform. 10. The Girls in ICT Initiative. The ministry scaled the 2025 Girls in ICT Initiative across the Volta, Upper East, and Upper West regions as part of its effort to close the gender gap in digital skills. In June, 1,000 girls from 18 districts in the Volta region completed a 3-week practical training program covering web development, game animation, cybersecurity, and coding, equipping them with relevant tools for Ghana's digital economy. The top 100 performers received laptops and excellence awards, and 10 teachers were awarded with laptops for their dedication. To further incentivize excellence and healthy competition, the top 3 performers were awarded cash prizes. The ministry also plans to establish fully equipped ICT labs in the schools of the top 3 performers to ensure continuity and sustainability. Also under the Girls in ICT initiative, I conducted a tour of Girls in ICT training centers across the Volta region in mid-June. This visit underscored the ministry's commitments to closing the gender gap in tech and ensuring equitable access to digital skills for young women beyond Accra. I keep saying Ghana is not Accra. Engagements with trainers and students highlighted the effectiveness of hands-on ICT education in empowering girls and promoting digital inclusion at the regional level. The Girls in ICT initiative reinforces our inclusive digital transformation agenda by investing in the next generation of female tech leaders and ensures that digital opportunities are genuinely national. We look forward to the Upper East and Upper West programs, where we're headed next. 11. The Smart Workplace. The National Information Technology Agency, Nita, has finalized a significant refresh of the Smart Workplace digital platform used by MDAs. This upgraded system now supports seamless e-cabinet memos, interagency collaboration, scheduling, and more. Over 25 MDAs are now actively using the enhanced platform. Broad-based rollout continues, with over 300 government organizations, including local assemblies and health services, now using the platform for virtual collaboration and document management. This upgrade strengthens our governance capabilities, reduces paper-based processes, and delivers greater operational efficiency across government. 12, engagement to enable full PayPal access in Ghana. The ministry has formally reopened engagements with PayPal to ensure full access to its service for Ghanaian users. As of June 2025, PayPal's regional government relations team has issued Ghana a compliance roadmap outlining the technical, regulatory, and financial standards required for whitelist reinstatement. The ministry is working closely with the Bank of Ghana and other key stakeholders to fulfill these conditions and to ensure PayPal also meets the necessary requirements to operate in Ghana. In line with this, I was on a call with the governor of the Bank of Ghana yesterday, trying to streamline all the regulatory issues, and I'm sure that in the next couple of weeks, before I do my next quarterly briefing, I should have good news on PayPal integration in Ghana. 13, TikTok engagement. As part of efforts to promote a safe, vibrant, and inclusive digital creative economy, I met with TikTok's West African government relations team on the 26th of June. Our discussions focused on enforcing age restrictions, safeguarding minors, and promoting responsible content development. And at this point, let me just pause and say that I'm deeply concerned about some of the content on TikTok. Life, sex, and explicit material on TikTok is completely unacceptable and against our culture and our norms. And those were parts of the conversation I held with TikTok's team to have content moderation in country. But the Cybersecurity Authority is mandated to do constant surveillance of TikTok platforms and accounts in country that are engaged in content that is anti our culture and not appropriate, and work with the platform operator to take down those accounts and block the owners of those accounts from operating on those platforms. The ministry also welcomed TikTok's introduction of a STEM-focused content feed and encouraged strong alignment with national programs, particularly the 1 Million Coders Initiative. I also urged TikTok to ensure fair compensation for Ghana's content creators, and I proposed the establishment of a local moderation and content governance team to reflect Ghana's values, our culture, and protect user rights and support national regulatory expectations. Number 14, our engagements with MultiChoice Ghana on subscription pricing. Last week, I invited the senior leadership of MultiChoice Ghana to a formal dialogue on DSTV's subscription pricing in Ghana. The meeting addressed public concerns about affordability, value for money, and fairness in service delivery. I made it clear the ministry's expectation that pricing structures must be responsive to Ghana's economic context. I have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, Friday, even though it's a public holiday, with the Ghana team and their South African counterparts, the management from South Africa. They arrived tonight to agree on a way forward on the issues raised. The outcomes will be shared with the public in due course. This engagement reflects our commitment to regulatory accountability and our resolve to ensure that digital services in Ghana remain fair, accessible, and responsive to the needs of citizens. I make you one promise. I won't leave tomorrow's meeting without securing a drop in the pricing of DSTV. That is a solemn promise I make to you. 15, stakeholder engagement. The ministry continues to place stakeholder engagements at the center of policy and program implementation. These engagements are essential to shaping responsive policy, unlocking investments, and ensuring inclusive national participation in our digital transformation agenda. To buttress this, I have engaged in quarterly industry engagements which have been institutionalized between the telecom CEOs, infrastructure providers, and the regulator. We've also embarked on ministerial ecosystem tours where we visited companies like Shack Express, IT Consortium, Apps and Mobile, Grow for Me, and a number of other local innovators. These engagements offered a platform for feedback and collaboration, and they reinforced our commitment to policy clarity, investment incentives, and infrastructure support. I've also embarked on regional innovation promotions when in May I addressed the MEPSIS 2025 Summit in Kumasi under the Menshia Trust Fund, which focused on motion technology, smart media, and creative entrepreneurship. This platform allowed us to showcase government-backed digital initiatives outside of Accra, promoting regional innovation, and ensuring nationwide inclusion in Ghana's digital growth. 16, strategic partnership for skills and sector reform. The ministry continues to leverage public, private, and bilateral partnerships to expand digital opportunities, attract investment, and catalyze structural reforms across the ICT sector. In line with this, a major realignment in Ghana's telecom sector is underway with conversations around the planned acquisition of 60% stake in AT Ghana. An MOU was signed, and the ministry is closely working with all relevant regulatory bodies to ensure full compliance. I gave them 60 days to complete that. They have 24 days. If they do not complete in 24 days, I will reopen it up for new opportunities and options. On youth skills development collaborations, we've had strategic partnerships to train expertise in cloud computing, AI, and software development, particularly under our 1 million coders program. And these efforts are being supported by both private sector firms and international training partners, reinforcing Ghana's human capital base for the digital economy. With MTN, we have signed an MOU on AI and skills. This MOU will see MTN Ghana co-develop a national AI innovation center. The agreement also commits funding towards training 5,000 young Ghanaians in AI and related digital skills over the next 18 months. This partnership strengthens Ghana's institutional and workforce readiness for AI adoption. The Ghana UAE Innovation Hub is what I spoke about already, the $1 billion innovation hub. Work is ongoing, and we expect construction to begin in Q1 2026. As we speak, the pre-project management office modalities are underway. Strategic partnership with the University of Ghana is also ongoing, as we have asked the University of Ghana to sign an MOU with the UNDP on behalf of the ministry to execute our digital youth village. This partnership will see the co-creation of digital skills programs, support for AI hackathons, and curricular alignment under the 1 Million Coders Initiative. It represents a deliberate move to prepare students for the evolving demands of Ghana's digital economy. Together, these engagements and partnerships reflect our commitment to a participatory, inclusive approach to digital governance, where partnership fuels progress and innovation is made truly national. Now, this brings me to an end of the ministry, the headquarters, our work. I'll now take you into what the agencies have been doing. The NCA. The NCA which is the National Communications Authority, has advanced major reforms across the sector to promote efficient spectrum use, safeguard national security, and enhance service delivery. And some of these steps they've taken include spectrum efficiency and regulatory reform, broader frequency monitoring and coordination, and most importantly, our preparation for the 2027 World Radio Communications Conference, which will hold from the conference from the 6th, the NCA has held its first preparatory meeting from the 6th to the 8th of May this year. The meeting reviewed proposed conference agenda items and established a framework for coordinating Ghana's position and participation in the ECOWAS and Africa preparatory meetings towards the conference. The NCA has also worked on receiver standards and licensing. We've also worked on satellite and radio determination services in Ghana, where 5 operators have received satellite service licenses with provisional authorizations issued to 2 more entities. These authorizations are intended to support partnerships to deliver collaborative services, including smart agricultural services, IoT services, tracking and monitoring systems, and backhaul connectivity. A national spectrum policy is currently being developed to provide for efficient and equitable use of spectrum to meet government's growing spectrum demand. The NCA is also promoting amateur radio stations to build local expertise and resilience in communication. The authority says they aim to set up a model amateur radio station on its premises to support this. And so for those of you who want to become amateur radio station operators, you should visit the NCA and explore what they are doing. SIM registration. In my last update, I indicated that we're looking to start SIM registration on the 1st of July. The NCA has implemented the overhaul of the entire SIM registration in and structured it into 3 key phases. Phase 1 will be the biometric validation and data cleanup. Phase 2 is going to be the controlled new registrations, and Phase 3 will be business SIM verification and deactivation of non-compliant records. I'm minded by the fact that the last time an LI was put together for the registration of SIM cards was sometime in 2010. And that LI is no longer fit for purpose. And so the NCA and the ministry are working together to submit a new LI to guide the SIM registration process. I want everything we do at the ministry to be backed by law. And so we will go back to Parliament, lay the LI, and once it is matured, we will then roll out the SIM registration. But rest assured, this SIM registration will be like none you've ever seen. There will be no queues. There will be no loss of man hours. You would do it electronically. You'd get the message. And that's the work that the NCA is currently doing. It's about 80% complete in terms of the biometric data cleanup, because we hold a lot of biometric data. And so there is no need for you to come back and resubmit that data if we can access that data, clean it, and match it with you. And so a lot of work is going on in there. And I'm sure that before the end of Q3, we'll be in a position to officially announce the start, public start of the SIM registration. Along with the SIM registration, we're doing a central equipment identity register. Now, this initiative is being implemented to monitor, identify, and block stolen and counterfeit devices to disincentivize device theft. The system will have secure API and web interfaces for integration with the SIM registration systems of the telcos, GRA's custom systems, and the NCA's type approval and dealership registry. Implementation is currently ongoing, and that will tie hand in hand in synchronization with the SIM registration. On regional connectivity, what we call ECOWAS roaming, Ghana's bilateral roaming service is now live with Côte d'Ivoire, Togo, and Benin. What this means is if you were to travel from Ghana to Côte d'Ivoire or to Togo and Benin, you would pay the rates that the locals in that country pay. So you're not going to be paying like a huge roaming cost, because there's a lot of traffic between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana and Togo, and Ghana and Benin. Testing is ongoing with the Gambia. It's complete, actually, with the Gambia, and we're in advanced talks with Nigeria to go live before the end of 2025. This initiative will lower roaming costs and boost regional integration. On telecom emergencies and licensing frameworks, the National Telecommunications Emergency Plan is complete. It will ensure that emergency communications for responders work even when commercial networks fail. We're doing new and revised licenses in development for communication managed services, internet exchange points, submarine carriers, and communication dealerships. And on the internet exchange points, it's extremely important that Ghana continues to attract a lot more internet exchange points, because when people talk about how fast their data goes, because it's one thing as giving more data, it's another thing about how fast the internet or the data bundles are used up. If you have more internet exchange points locally, what happens is when you make the request to view a web page or access an internet resource, the travel distance is shorter. So currently, most of our exchange points are sitting in London and in Portugal. So it means that when you try to access it, the travel distance, the amount of data used to go and hit the exchange point in Portugal or London before it comes back to Ghana means that there's more data consumed. If we have internet exchange points locally, the travel time is shorter. And I'm glad to announce that this evening, I'm going to be commissioning the London Internet Exchange Point in Accra. We're opening a new exchange point here in Accra in partnership with Onyx. And the beauty of it is that it's not just going to be placed in Onyx as a primary data center, but it's also going to have backups in digital reality and one other data center. And we're trying to attract, at least before end of year, 2 more internet exchange points so that we can be able to have the exchange points here locally, and the amount of data you need to access internet resources will be drastically reduced. 2, Cybersecurity Authority. The Cybersecurity Authority continues to advance Ghana's cybersecurity agenda through regulation, cooperation, and digital resilience. They have engaged in threat monitoring and protection initiatives. They've worked on cybercrime and incident reporting. They've worked on child online protection and awareness campaigns. Under the child online protection and awareness campaigns, over 55,000 young people have been directly reached with safety education. Preparation is underway as we speak for the 2025 edition of the National Cybersecurity Challenge, which will target 100 senior high schools. And then the annual National Cybersecurity Awareness Month in October will target over 6 million Ghanaians under the theme, Building a Safe, Informed, and Accountable Digital Space. Under licensing, regulation, and institutional frameworks, the CSA has registered 326 cybersecurity providers, 1,821 cybersecurity professionals, and 87 cybersecurity establishments. We're operationalizing sectoral sets in energy, health, education, transport, and the military. On international cooperation and global leadership, Ghana, represented by the CSA, co-chairs the ICRC ICT workstream on upholding international humanitarian law alongside Luxembourg, Mexico, and Switzerland. Ghana is now a signatory to the Pall Mall Process Draft Code of Practice for States, and the CSA was selected by the University of Oxford's Global Cybersecurity Capacity Center to pilot its AI cybersecurity readiness metric as a Tier 1 country. Ghana has also actively participated in the Octopus Conference, the Glacis East Steering Committee, and ECOWAS Regional Cybersecurity Coordination Center feasibility study. Now, law enforcement. And I want you to pay very close attention to this, because most people do not realize that the Cybersecurity Authority has a law enforcement mandate. It's one of the key things we have enhanced and will continue to do a lot of work in. The CSA has stepped up its law enforcement mandate in the last 5 months. We have conducted a number of operations in conjunction with the Ghana Police Service and the National Intelligence Bureau. A number of individuals have been surveilled, arrested, and prosecuted successfully for crimes ranging from romance scams, child online sexual abuse material, unauthorized access into financial platforms, investment scams, sextortion, and recruitment fraud. In one instance, the CSA and the Ghana Immigration Service busted a pig butchering fraud hosting center at the Nyamidua Estates in Tema Community 26. Over 400 persons were arrested from 8 different nationalities. In that particular raid, we seized 4,000 mobile phones, 70 laptops, and 5 firearms. Tells you the level of crime that's ongoing in the country. Barely 3 weeks ago, the CSA, in another operation with the Ghana Police Service, busted a sophisticated recruitment fraud ring. After weeks of detailed surveillance, an operation was carried out with the Ghana Police Service in Sogakope, leading to the arrest of 11 suspects, including the gang leader of the group. The gang had extensive capabilities, including forging national identity documents. They're in the cooler now, thanks to the work of the CSA. The CSA has also been on the forefront of clamping down on illegal financial flows and transfer of illicit funds through multi-agency corporations. Within days of my appointment as minister, we received requests from the FBI for assistance to locate and assist in the apprehension of 5 persons of interest who were alleged to be involved in cyber-related crimes with proceeds in excess of $105 million. The CSA team meticulously identified the individuals using tools at our disposal and conducted weeks of surveillance, building critical evidence material for law enforcement to utilize in the extradition and prosecution processes. As of today, 4 of the 5 persons have been successfully apprehended, 3 have been extradited, and 1 is about to be extradited to the US by Interpol and the AG's office. We make a solemn pledge to make Ghana an uncomfortable place for persons engaged in acts that tarnish the global reputation of our nation. We have a number of active operations underway, and we will brief the nation once we complete same and arrests have been effected. It's one of the key things in our conversation with PayPal, the rising level of cyber fraud in our country and the illicit flow of funds working with the CSA, will clamp down on every one of them and hand them over to law enforcement to deal with them. The work of the CSA remains central to our national vision for a secure, trusted, and inclusive digital economy. As the threats evolve, so must our defenses, and Ghana is fully committed to strengthening its cyber resilience through smart regulation, multi-sector partnership, and global best practices. To the CSA and its leadership, I say, Aiko, keep up the good work. 3, Nita. Nita continues to execute its mandate of securing Ghana's digital foundations and enhancing trust in public digital systems. Several key reforms and system upgrades are now operational or at advanced stages of implementation. The Cybersecurity Operation and GovSec transition has seen the national SOC, hosted by Nita, become fully operational. The SOC provides real-time threat monitoring and weekly vulnerability scans for MDAs. Under PKIs and digital trust services, the national root PKI infrastructure has been successfully deployed. It is now integrated with the Ghana card and the new chip-embedded e-passport and the e-visa platform. A roadmap has been developed to extend digital signature capabilities to core registries in 2026, and this include the ORC, the Office of Registrar of Companies, the Births and Death Registry, DVLA, Lands Commission, WIEC, and public universities. On the Ghana Data Exchange Hub, to address fragmentation in public sector data systems, Nita is finalizing the deployment of the Ghana Data Exchange Hub. This hub will enable secure data exchange between MDAs and SOEs, real-time service integration across government, and reduce duplicative data collection and improve data accuracy. On AI governance and combating misinformation, Nita is piloting an AI-based public service solution in collaboration with local innovators such as Impuntun Technologies. These include chatbots and predictive analytics for use in education and health. A public misinformation platform is currently in final testing that will allow citizens to verify official documents. So when Felix puts out a statement, and you want to be sure that it is really Felix that has put out the statement, we will have digital embedded tools that will allow for you to tell that this is actually authentic government documentation and not the misinformation that you see around town. On institutional reforms, we're carrying out legislative reforms to ensure that Nita evolves into a fully fledged digital regulatory authority. The proposed new mandate will include oversight over all ICT procurements and platforms in the public sector, certification and audit powers for digital infrastructure across all government agencies, and for the authority to enforce technical and security compliance across government systems. This transformation will ensure coherence, accountability, and resilience in Ghana's digital ecosystem. GIFEC. GIFEC continues to play a vital role in Ghana's efforts to achieve universal access and digital inclusion. In 2025, the agency advanced several flagship programs, including the rural connectivity, ICT skills development, and institutional support. Under rural telephony, as at the end of Q2 2025, 1,561 sites have been constructed with 1,556 integrated into the national network. 1,077 sites are actively delivering voice and data services, and in 2025 alone, so far we have added 81 new sites and integrated 131 and activated 142 sites. 468 additional sites are currently undergoing final integration and activation. Under our innovation centers and digital content expansion, GIFEC is currently carrying out the Cyber Laboratory Program and Innovation Center Revitalization Initiative. Working together in partnership with Tech Aid Ghana, which we call ASANKA, digital content and devices have been piloted in 3 centers across the Ashanti, Northern, and Greater Accra regions. Under institutional ICT support and school connectivity, in the first half of 2025, we've delivered 90 desktops and 228 laptops to 15 public institutions. Under our school connectivity project, procurement is underway for 1,000 computers for basic schools and thin clients for 30 senior high schools. Under the capacity building and girls in ICT training program, as I indicated earlier, 1,000 girls have been trained in the Volta region. 2,000 more girls will be trained in the Upper East and Upper West regions. Data Protection Commission. The Data Protection Commission is fast-tracking its licensing and institutional capacity. Licensing turnaround times have been reduced from 3 months to just 7 days, enabling quicker onboarding and compliance for data controllers. Over 700 data protection officers have been trained, with 580 of these trained under the 1 Million Coders Program pilot program. Now, 100% of all DPC staff are professionally certified, positioning the Commission as a model for capacity and technical readiness in Africa's ecosystem. Under legal reforms, a draft amendment to the Data Protection Act has been completed and submitted, aligning Ghana's legal framework with international norms such as the GDPR and the AU Convention. The Commission is in the final stages of developing a QR and USSD-enabled national privacy seal, which will allow the public to instantly verify the compliance status of organizations. A new digital certification and registration portal is also nearing completion. GMET. GMET, the Ghana Meteorological Agency, continues to strengthen its delivery of climate and weather services critical to national development. In Q2, the agency achieved significant milestones across service quality, digital transformation, and climate resilience initiatives. GMET has secured ISO 9001:2015 certification for its QMS, covering public weather, aviation, marine, and research services. This underscores its commitment to globally accepted standards in climate service delivery. We have the Early Warning for All roadmap, where Ghana has endorsed this roadmap under the UN Early Warning for All initiative. This roadmap will strengthen Ghana's multi-hazard early warning infrastructure through interagency collaboration involving GMET, NADMO, Red Cross, and others. Operational efficiency. The institution has worked to procure operational vehicles to support field activities, including the routine maintenance of its operations and systems. A common alert protocol system has been integrated into GMET's website. This enables real-time multi-channel dissemination of warning via mobile, radio, TV, and online platforms. National operationalization is being pursued in partnership with the NCA and disaster response agencies. Ghana Post. Ghana Post continues to expand its role as a critical government service partner and logistics backbone. It's expanding services, mandate, and delivery reach, and in doing this, they have begun the nationwide delivery of chip embedded passports on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the DVLA for driver's license, and bank cards for 2 major financial institutions. On this, let me pause and make a few comments. We're having challenges with delivery of passports in some instances, and this is simply because citizens fail to realize that if you register for a passport using a Goro boy, and he uses his phone number to make the application, when the passport is processed and handed over to Ghana Post will call the number on the application. Now that number is going to be the number of the Goro boy. When the delivery person gets to that individual and the Goro boy shows his identity, his location, when we dispatch the passport and it gets to the delivery point, the individual must show us identity that matches the photograph on the passport. So when you use a Goro boy and his number is what we call, and we get to deliver and it is a Goro boy, we will not hand over the passport to a third party. Those passports are returned. And these same people now go online and complain that their passports are not being delivered. It's a criminal offense for you to use a Goro boy to apply for a passport. The process, as designed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, is efficient, it is swift, and it works. The delivery system put in place by Ghana Post is robust, is efficient, and effective. And so you do not need to use a Goro boy. Another challenge we have is when delivery men call recipients of their passports. They pick and then say, I'm at work, so I'll call you back. And you call the delivery person at 8 p.m. that you are now home. he should come and deliver the passports to you. We don't keep the passports with the delivery people. When he's unable to deliver to you, he will return it. And so we urge the public to appreciate the nuances of a digital delivery system, that the integrity of the system is dependent on us being sure that we can ascertain who we are delivering the passport to, and that for us to do timely deliveries, you need to work with the postal services as they get to you to deliver. But if you don't do this and then you go online and go and tag the Minister for Foreign Affairs and say that he's not doing his work, anyway. On the back of this, let me say that the Ghana Post is repositioning itself to become a modern, green, and financial inclusive logistic player with a few planned updates, including the full automation of the Office of Exchange to ensure that the throughput and customs processing and tracking are improved. The Green Post strategy will introduce a paperless system and pilot electric motorcycles and vans as part of a broader sustainable agenda at G-Post. A formal application is being prepared to the Bank of Ghana for a license to enable Ghana Post operate financial services, remittance transfers, and digital savings products for underserved populations. And this is part of the agenda to make the Ghana Post relevant in the digital world. When you go to the UK today, it's the post office you use to send money. Most people don't go into a banking hall. They do remittances through the post office. And that's why the Ghana Post should get a license from the Bank of Ghana to be able to, in local communities where you don't have a bank, there is a post office. And so you should be able to offer banking services and add financial inclusion to the underserved areas. And I commend the leadership of Ghana Post for that wishing to ensure that G-Post remains relevant in a digital age. The Postal and Courier Services Regulatory Commission. The PCSRC continues to intensify regulatory oversight of Ghana's courier and postal sector, with 22 new courier operators being licensed and 89 licenses being renewed for existing operators. On regulatory enforcement and sector support, a nationwide enforcement campaign has been planned with the Ghana Police Service to clamp down on unlicensed delivery operators. So if you are a delivery person or running a delivery company and you are not registered with the commission, please go and register, because very soon we will clamp down on all unregistered operators. In partnership with the GIZ, the commission is rolling out a capacity building program for Ghana Post personnel. Another thing that we're doing is to amend the Postal Service Act and its accompanying LI to reflect evolving market dynamics, including digital commerce and logistics. Ghana Digital Center. The Ghana Digital Center Limited has advanced its core mandate of building a digitally skilled workforce through structured training and job matching initiatives. 219 young people have been trained this year in high-demand areas such as data analytics, software development, digital marketing, and soft skills. And the beauty of this is that the beneficiaries who were trained were placed in hands-on internships through the Jumpstart program, which uses KPOs, knowledge process outsourcing models, to integrate skills with startup incubation. And now, startup and gig ecosystem, 61 tech startups at various stages of growth have received support through the GDCL-hosted programs and ecosystem events. GDCL is positioning itself as a cornerstone of Ghana's digital transformation by scaling its programs and infrastructure through its green energy initiatives, a national BPO, business process outsourcing strategy, and the GDCL is also prepping its facilities to participate in the 24-hour economy. In my closing remarks, I know I've spoken for long. I'm coming to an end. My distinguished colleague, heads of agencies, members of the press, fellow citizens, as we conclude this quarter's update, let me reaffirm our core mandate. Our mandate is to build a secure, inclusive, and innovation-driven digital ecosystem that creates jobs, empowers citizens, and positions Ghana as a leader in Africa's digital future. The progress I have outlined today is not just a list of projects. It is evidence of an administration that is governing with purpose and urgency. And mind you, all the plenty things I've said in the last 3 months. Yeah, boy Juma. Yeah, Juma. We're reforming laws to match today's reality and today's tech-driven world. We're investing in our people, especially the young people of our country, to give them the tools to participate meaningfully in the digital ecosystem. And we're working across every region and with every stakeholder to ensure that the benefits of digitalization are not luxury for a few, but a basic right for all. To the private sector, partner with us, not just to make profit, but to build. To academia and civil society, work with us to innovate and hold us accountable. And to every Ghanaian, the digital future is yours, and we are here to ensure it serves you. Let me express once again my gratitude to the hardworking team across all agencies in the ministry, NCA, Nita, Data Protection, Postal and Courier Services, Cybersecurity, GIFEC, Ghana Post, Ghana Data Centers Limited, the Ghana Domain Name Registry, every one of you, and all our partners and stakeholders. You make this vision possible. To His Excellency the President, we take energy from your energy and will continue to deliver, sir. Our mission is not to keep things as they are, but to reshape them with intention and resolve. Ghana's digital future is already being built. Let's build it together. Nyachumka, Mauna Jonye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that comprehensive update. I would invite questions at this juncture for the Minister's attention. If you have a question, please step forward, ask it crisply, and then he will answer. Please, you do not need to trot all the way forward. Just stand at the back and ask your question. In the interest of time, we want to ensure that we do not spend too much time here. Please identify yourself, ask your question, and the minister will answer.
The person should come out here. Are you ready?
Yeah, good morning. My name is Osman. I work with Radio Gold. I want to find out from the minister, how can the ministry work with MultiChoice Ghana to address public concern about the affordability and value for money of their subscription services? That's my first question. My second question is, what additional measures can the ministry take to ensure the competition for the protection of Ghanaians content creators? That's for TikTok. What is government doing to ensure that at least these people are also, protected, especially those who are doing the content creating with TikTok? Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the minister answered the question on MultiChoice, but for the avoidance of doubt, he will take the opportunity to reiterate it, just in case some of our compatriots missed that point.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes.
My name is Justice Adoboy. I work for Shinwa News Agency. So I have two quick questions. The NGI rollout, I would like to know whether they brought any difficulties or challenges to the attention of the minister, because it looks like two deadlines have been missed. So are they experiencing any significant or unique challenges